Hello, everyone. This is Debra Poneman, and I'd like to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Lori Spagna, who will be speaking to us about communicating with animals and the powerful benefits for them and for you. After a series of near-death experiences, Lori radically transformed her life and now has over 20 years of experience serving humans and animals around the world as an interspecies communicator. Lori also provides seminars and workshops for spiritually minded animal lovers and teaches humans how we can improve our lives by learning from animals. Additionally, Lori leads manifestation and healing circles where she teaches universal laws and how people and their pets can tap into their true power via the source that connects us all. Besides being an internationally recognized speaker and author, Lori is a powerful intuitive, a profound energy healer, and is definitely one of the most beautiful, heart-centered light workers and visionaries gracing our planet at this time. And today, Lori will be sharing what interspecies communication and animal telepathy actually are and why they are real and scientifically validated, how you can begin practicing animal telepathy and interspecies communication right away with your animals. Hear that, Minnie? My little dog is sitting on the couch. I hope she's excited. And, by the way, she will also offer a powerful meditation to connect you with your animal companions in a two-way dialogue. So, Lori, thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the call.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Debra. I'm really excited about our call.
I am so excited, too. I have been looking so forward to this, having known you, having had a session for myself and my little doggie. I was just absolutely blown away. And here's the thing. Before we launch into these questions that I have that I know that everybody wants to know the answers to, I have got to hear about your near-death experiences, plural, which I don't know anything about, and how they brought you to recognize your ability, I assume, and to use it for the benefit of us all. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's really interesting because I, like many people, was really out of college. Worked in corporate America for almost 20 years, and or something like that. And then what was happening to me during the course of those 20 years was that I was so psychically really in tuned, but not really aware that I was picking up all kinds of stuff. And during the course of those 20 years, I ended up like shifting into a reality where I was just sort of drinking 6 to 8 beers a day, smoking 2 or more packs of cigarettes a day, drinking 2 or more pots of coffee per day. And I amassed a debt of like over $150,000. And it just got really, really crazy. I was going for medical help, and what the doctors were doing for me was giving me pharmaceuticals. So I was really basically drugged up with pharmaceuticals that you could line up from one edge of a double counter sink in a bathroom to the other, multiples. And then what happened was during the course of those 20 years, I would lovingly or jokingly call myself a good slave. I felt like a slave to corporate America, and this is what was happening to me as a result of that. And my whole body was a mess, and I was just not sleeping right. My thyroid was off. I was probably 65 pounds heavier than I am right now. And my hair was falling out. It's all kinds of things. And when I was doing this good slave work, as I call myself back then, I had 3 mantras running in my head, Debra. And the 3 mantras were this: I didn't come here for this. I came here to be of service to animals on a global scale. How do I be of service to animals on a global scale? I really didn't know the way out. I didn't know how. I just kept like crying every day at my desk asking that. And then the other 2 questions I would ask was, how do I make God my boss? I want God to be my boss. And then the other one was, I just wanted the truth. I felt like everybody around me was lying. I didn't feel like people were being honest with themselves or real. I was the person who was willing to acknowledge the pink elephant in the room, so to speak. And so I wanted the truth no matter what. Those were my 3 mantras. And what ultimately happened was my brother died, and I knew that that was my wake-up call. I knew that he was a divine messenger for me to wake me up, and that I was either about to die and follow along in his footsteps, or I was about to wake up. So I basically quit everything, left everything behind, and went to Maui, where I underwent this radical transformation. I basically chose to die in Maui. I was pursuing death in a weird way, knowing that somehow that was the answer to wake me up. I don't really know how all that happened. All I know is that I was doing some really alternative practices that were literally teaching me to leave my body completely and maintain my consciousness. And through a practice while I lived in Maui for 2 years, repeating practices of how to do this, I ultimately really learned how to do it. So it's pretty wild. It's out there stuff. I hope that helps explain it. Does that?
Yeah, I like out there stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's really through a practice of understanding that you can stay conscious without any thought, without any movement, without any emotion. And you have to be willing to literally, the way that I practiced it and learned it, and it's not something that I'm teaching or that I teach others to do, but you have to essentially allow yourself to let your body completely die. And you move through these portals or these realms or these existences of experience. It's pretty hard to explain it in words because there aren't really words to explain this. But I'm saying you, but in this case it was me, where you're aware of everything, consciously aware, and have no attachment to any of it. It's pure awareness. It's pure consciousness. It's merging with a field of consciousness. There's nothing else. Nothing else. No judgment, no points, just no energy, nothing. It's just consciousness.
And from that space and the prayer of asking God to allow you to be of service to the animals and also to be his, I can't remember the word you used, messenger or just...
I wanted God to be my boss.
God to be your boss.
Yeah.
How did that morph into what you're doing now so effectively, helping people understand the gifts that animals can give us and how we can communicate with our animals? How did that turn into that?
Well, really, it was always about the animals. It's just that I was on my own spiritual journey, and somehow those things, melded. Because the truth is, we tend to think of ourselves as humans, not animals. But in reality, from Creator's point of view, I call it Creator, but you can, call it God or whatever. From Creator's point of view, we're animals too. I mean, we are the human variety of animal, and science tells us that too. We are a human animal. So we're in the animal species, So anyway, from when I kept saying I want to be of service to animals on a global scale, that was Creator's, okay, we're going to make her, Creator can always dream a way bigger dream for us than we can dream for ourselves. We know that, right? So that was just how it evolved. It turned into, okay, we're going to make this lady a light worker who's going to, work on connecting with animals globally, human or non-human, and, work on bringing this communication interspecies to everyone. So it really just evolved out of really loving animals and recognizing that animals have incredible gifts, incredible awareness, and they're here to share it with us. And they're teaching us about it.
Okay, well then let's just dive right into this. First of all, tell us how animal communication works. And also in your bio, it says that there's actually scientific evidence to support it. And then I want to know what the animals are trying to tell us. But first, tell us how it works.
For sure. Okay, well, the thing is from a scientific point of view, we are left-brained creatures. Humans are the only animals on the planet, to the best of my knowledge, that are predominantly left-brained. Every other animal on the planet is either predominantly right-brained or has half-half. They're able to equally use the left brain and the right brain. So the left brain side, as we know, is the analytical part of our brain that wants to figure things out and calculate and make lists and do things and determine and give labels and those kinds of things. The right brain is the feeling, sensing brain. It has awareness. and it senses things that it knows, but it doesn't necessarily have to give it a label. The left brain does that. So the way I always explain this part is that the left brain is trying to figure out what the right brain already knows. That aside, when you think about parts of our body and our being that we have and all other animals on the planet have, they're what we call the extrasensory parts of our body. So, for example, we have a pineal pituitary in the center of our brain. So do all other animals on the planet. Those are sensory glands. They sense information. In the spiritual community, we call it your third eye. Either way, it's there. It's a sensory gland, and it's been deactivated in most humans. Fluoride in the water deactivates it. Toxins in the air deactivates it. If you stop using it, it will shrink. It starts to shrink when a child is around the age of 7. Actually, even before then, but it really gets deactivated, especially when we're so busy in the left brain hemisphere. So you can reactivate it. It's quite easy to reactivate it. But you know, in order to reactivate it, that takes in information, and it senses information and sends it through the rest of the brain and the rest of the part of the body. And so animals haven't deactivated that mostly because they're not so busy with left brain activities. Now, beyond that, we also have what's called the thymus gland, which is also another sensory gland. It's in the heart center. And that is a sensory gland that receives information. People who are empathic, who are highly sensitive, are already using it. We're all using it. It's just most people, again, if you're so busy in your left brain and you're not feeling and sensing things, you may be not using it as much as you can. But you can, just like you go to a gym, you can activate it and strengthen it. Even if you were to go to a gym and start lifting weights to build a bicep or a tricep or any other muscle in your body. Same with these sensory glands. Also, you have a theta brainwave. You have 5 brainwaves: an alpha, a beta, a gamma, a delta, and a theta. So they all do something different. And the theta brainwave is the brainwave that connects us to universal intelligence. Most humans are not trying or actively engaging in activating their theta brainwave and connecting with it. We can do that in a meditation. We're going to do that today. But the animals already do it. They just easily can access it because, again, they're not so busy, you know, in other brainwaves. Like we could talk about all that. But this is one of the ways animals already do it. And so if we learn how to access that theta brainwave, we can connect with an animal through the theta brainwave in a two-way dialogue. Which, by the way, lots of scientists, quantum physicists, are calling it the field of everything. So that's how we connect with the theta brainwave. It's a tool. So all of those ways are the ways we can explain interspecies dialogue. Because when we start using these parts of our body, by the way, the skin is also a sensory organ. It's an organ. So information comes in through the skin. So whenever you have things like, oh, I just got goosebumps, that is your skin receiving information and sending it through your circulatory system and your nervous system into your brain, and your right brain has the awareness, and then the left brain goes over and goes, oh, I just got goosebumps. That makes sense?
Yes, it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that you said earlier when you were still talking about the pineal gland is you said that you just threw this in about how things like the fluoride in our water and the toxins in our air actually dull that third eye, that pineal gland. And I just wanted to add, that must be why when we eat junk food, we feel like we're not as connected to that energy, that voice, that intuition, that third eye sense, because we've just put toxins in our body.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Candy, sugar is a kind of poison. I mean, new research is telling us we can have the same kind of addiction to sugar that we can have to cocaine and other drugs. Yeah, for sure. That absolutely does numb down. And animals typically don't really eat all those toxins. They're just being fed, general dog food for the most part. So again, that's not as damaging for their body if they're not getting as many of the toxins as a lot of humans normally eat.
Exactly. And so you said that when we are in that theta brainwave, and I know that there are ways that we can get to the theta brainwave state, that's when we can be effective animal communicators. so that's why it's different than just regular telepathic communication. I mean, sometimes I'll go into the kitchen and I'll just think it's time to feed Minnie. And even before I start, clinking her dish or her can, which then, of course, she comes racing down the stairs. They have superhuman hearing. But I just start thinking about feeding her, and down she comes.
Right. Well, animals learn through one of three ways. So they learn just like, and this is all animals, humans as well. We learn through cause and effect. We learn, or stimuli response. We learn through repetition, practice and repetition. And we also learn through association. So your Minnie could be hearing and could have made an association with the sound of the can and, food's about. She could have made or she could know, it's that time of day when the sun starts to go down and I can hear mommy clattering. I have an association now. This time food comes out. Or she could know cause and effect. Oh, I smell the food, that means food is coming. So it could be any of those. But at the same time, for sure, because we're not actually asking Minnie which it is right now. So we don't know exactly which one it is. We could ask Minnie easily. But
I know you could.
Yeah, for sure. So it definitely could be that she's just hearing your thoughts. Animals know our secrets. They know the things we won't even admit to ourselves. And the reason is because they're not distracted with other things during the day, like how to pay your bills and, what's the directions to get to work or this new place, or how do I get along with my mother-in-law, or how do I get along with my boss, or, I got to call the housekeeper to clean my house, and all those kinds of things that we tend to be busy with. They're not busy with those things. So they're able to relax and surrender and tune in on frequencies, that's the best word I can use, or brain waves is the better word, that we're not usually tuning into because we don't take the time. And that's why meditation really helps. So yes, it absolutely could be that because you're kind of in a relaxed state, maybe it's the end of the day and you're just sort of, I just got to do this. And she's tuned in to pick up that brainwave and read the energy of that brainwave. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And I want you to, because I know that you have some beautiful things that you say about what our animals are trying to teach us, but I have to ask you a question because now I'm concerned, because you said that our animals can, they know our thoughts more than we think that they might. So does that mean if we like one of our dogs better than we like the other dog, they know that, but is that okay with them?
Well, they do know it. They absolutely do know it. And the things to keep in mind is our points of view are different from theirs. So our points of view is now we're automatically going to start to go into judgment of ourselves, right? Like, oh my God,
I'm right there.
Right, I love one dog more than the other. That's so mean, and I'm not, and I don't want to hurt my other dog because I love my. But from their point of view, it's more about understanding the role from a wolf pack perspective or from a cat pride perspective, and also understanding from a spiritual perspective that they signed up for different things. So different animals, and this kind of leads us into the other part of it that you were just going to ask me, different animals have different roles here. And those roles they're pretty conscious about them. So they're aware that they're playing different roles. So an animal who might be the favorite role might be a really big teacher and or healer and might be there to take on energetically a lot of stuff for the human. And that's not always the preferred role, because a lot of times if they're energetically taking on stuff for their human, that means they're healing their human. They're taking on a lot of stuff. Whereas an animal who might not be the preferred gets to have a stronger, longer, healthier life. Sometimes. Not necessarily. But so they're always working in one of three or more than maybe two of three or three of three roles. So the roles are generally a healer. So again, we just said that energetically, everything's energy. Energy's everywhere. There's nowhere that energy is not. So energetically, if you have energy in and around your field, your animal's going to pick up that energy, reflect it back at you in some way, shape, or form, or take it on from you with the purpose of healing you from the stresses of your day or the emotional traumas and dramas or the physical traumas and pains. They act as healers. That's one of three ways. The other is teachers. So a lot of times they're just going to teach things to us. They're going to demonstrate behaviors for us that we either need to learn about, resolve, evolve into, heal in ourselves somehow, some way. So they're mirroring back those aspects of us to teach us. And then the third way is sometimes they're just companions. It's very rare that they only play one role, but there are just companion animals out there. And sometimes the companion animals are animals that don't necessarily bond as much with their human, or they may spend a lot of time in the backyard, or they might get lost because they don't have they're just companion animals and they're having an animal experience on planet Earth. Now, obviously, wild animals aren't companion animals, right? They fall into one or two of the other categories. Does that make sense?
Yes. But, okay, so with the animals that are here for one of the first two reasons, which you say is most of our pets, our cats, our dogs, two questions. One is, does that also apply to even when people have turtles or tropical fish or hamsters?
Yes. Yeah, because here's the thing that we humans are waking up to. It doesn't matter what the body looks like. It only matters that there's energy and consciousness in the body. I mean, not only, but there's energy and consciousness in everybody. Everybody. No matter what the body looks like. Turtle, gerbil, guinea pig, mouse, rabbit, ant. There's energy and consciousness in every single body. So the consciousness of that animal, whether it's, and by the way, energy is, for one kind of energy is love. Love is an energy. So love can be shared. It is not restricted to the body. It's not restricted to love between a human and a human, love between a human and an animal, love between an animal and an animal. Love is real. And it's shared between bodies of consciousness. So when you say, could it happen with a turtle, for example? For sure. A turtle can have love and experience love just as a dog can, just as a human can, just as a cat can, just as a bird can. And that love is not restricted, so the turtle can take on stuff for their human just as well. I once worked with a woman with a goldfish, not once, more than once with her. And she was going through a lot of change in her life, and this goldfish was just really having a hard time. And over a few weeks, the goldfish got to a point where he was just sitting on the bottom of his fish tank, and he couldn't swim anymore. And then by the time she brought the goldfish to me, he was almost like on his side. He was really off balance. And we did an energy healing session, an animal communication session with the goldfish. Weeks she had been trying to fix it. She had been through the aquariums and, getting lots of information to try to repair this situation. And then we spent an hour together, and within a week, the goldfish was swimming around again. Fine. Absolutely fine. Why? Because she loved this fish so much, and this fish was energetically showing her life was off balance. She needed to get back into balance. This is from a goldfish. And as soon as she got the message, and the fish was like, his job had been done as a teacher, he could go back to being fine. She made some commitments, and through animal communication, we let the fish know, okay, your job's done, your mom's got it, she commits to doing these things that you're trying to teach and heal with her, and you can go back to swimming and feeling healthy. And energetically, we made some shifts in the fish within a week. Amazing, right?
Yes, and I've actually heard you say, and this is like really out there, that animals actually function as light workers on the planet. What do you mean by that?
Oh, yeah. For sure. Well, okay, some of the most commonly well-known lightworker animals on the planet, but they all are, and they're all doing their roles in one way, shape, or form. But one of the most common examples is whales and dolphins, the cetaceans. So cetaceans of the planet, what they do is, in the waters, they're using echolocation, which is very high-pitched frequencies of energy, vibration, that are vibrations. You've heard about whale songs. They're vibrations that we can associate with love. And those clicks and frequencies of communication through the telepathic echolocation that they're doing goes out, vibrates through the ocean, which is, 80% of our planet is water. And they raise the frequency, the frequency or the energy of the planet through what they're doing, and they know that they're doing this. They are absolutely conscious of the fact that they're doing it. So that's one of the ways they're working literally as light workers to raise the vibrational frequency, the consciousness of this planet. It's pretty amazing, right? Now, besides that, they teach us enormous things too. whales and dolphins are so evolved that they breathe on purpose. They could actually choose not to breathe if they wanted to. And the way they function is they're always conscious. One side of their brain shuts down on purpose when they sleep and the other side stays awake. Then that side takes a turn. That's how they function. So their brain, they are fully conscious, not like us who have to go unconscious. Like most people on planet Earth, 90% of our brain is unconscious. 10% is conscious. What we're doing right now with the shift of consciousness is getting down into that unconscious, clearing it out, and becoming fully conscious beings, like our whale dolphin teachers. Isn't that amazing?
Yes. Absolutely.
I think that's incredible. And they are literally teaching us and healing the earth.
Well, and you also said that we can learn to use the energy of animals but it's slightly different, that we can use the energy of animals for personal and planetary healing. That's something different, right?
Yes. Well, it's not so much about using their energy. It's more about tapping into the energy with them. So, in other words, since we know everything's energy, and all energy has a vibration and a frequency, how fast it moves and how fast it's vibrating or how slow. So, for example, to give you an understanding of energy and how the animals use it, is what we might associate with like good or bad being relative. Good energy, desirable energy is stuff like love, happiness, joy, health, well-being, prosperity. It feels good, right? Feels good. It's exciting. Things like optimism and bliss and happiness and harmony and peace. Those are high vibration, high frequency, great, good energy, desirable energy. And it moves really fast. Those things move fast. Nothing can attach onto them, but everything wants to follow them because they just move so fast. Well, then if you think about slower, lower vibrational, dense energy, heavy energy is stuff like sadness, fear, worry, grief, doubt, anxiety, frustration, limitation, those kinds of things, hatred, revenge. They move really slow. And that energy moves so slow that it can actually get stuck and even metastasize and very often form illness, death, sickness. So that's all energy too. So when we talk about tapping into the energy of the animals, what we're really talking about is they have an awareness of that. And so most of our animal companions, for example, are really like generally happy. You come home. This is why animal lovers always say they practice unconditional love. They're happy to see you. They're just there wagging their tails or purring or meowing, greeting you at the door, giving you love and acceptance. And that's an energy. And so when we come in with our energy of stress or worry or whatever it is from the day, they energetically will take that on. Well, just the same, we tap into their energy by just saying, you know what? I leave the day behind. I let it go out of the door. I walk in and I'm going to just tap into the joy of my animal companion who's here to greet me and just be in the place of love with them and allow myself to experience love with them because we love each other and they're just so great accepting me no matter what my foibles of the day are. And so that's what I mean when I say tap into their energy because they're just there being happy and loving beings and they just do it so, unconditionally, really. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes complete sense. As a matter of fact, I have said more than once, I say to my dogs, well, one of my little dogs went to heaven, but we had 2 Boston Terriers, and they would always be waiting for me when I came home, or even if I go upstairs to my office, the 2 little faces at the top of the stairs, and I look at these 2 little Boston Terrier faces, and I think, how can anybody live without these 2 Boston Terrier faces? Because no matter what's going on, you see these little faces, and, just the stress of the day leaves, and the happiness gets replaced with happiness.
Mm-hmm. They're so cute. I love the Boston Terriers. I mean, it's just pure love. I see these animals are just pure love in a body. I mean, you just look at them, and I remember when I was living in Maui during that time, it was a very challenging time for me. I was alone. I was going through a divorce. I was, changing careers, relocation, and, trying to heal myself of all that stuff that I had talked about, which is now not part of my life at all, by the way. I hope I made that clear. But when I was there, I remember asking a lot. Like one of my things that I would ask her, help me to see the love and be the love. I know the love. And the place you can always find love is in the eyes of an animal. They are just pure love. You can really, they get, they have their experiences too. Animals in shelters and animals who are lost, they can have grief and sorrow and sadness too. But an animal who is well loved and well taken care of and lives in a family where they're loved, you look in their eyes and there's just love. There's just so much love. Yeah.
Yes. And speaking of families, what do the animals most often want their family members to know?
Oh my gosh. Well, it can vary, but generally speaking, it's almost always something along the lines of, let's have fun. Let's play. Let's have a good time. You're working too hard. Let's go out. Let's go into nature. Let's go for a walk. And these are all the things that humans need to do more of. I mean, do you know, Debra, there is a new movie I heard of, some kind of movie, I don't even know. But it's all about how people need to play more.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I heard it, but I just remember it's starting to we're becoming more aware that we've been working too hard. I knew it when I kept calling myself a slave. I feel like planet Earth, I'm sure I'm not the only one who knows, we've been enslaved. We've enslaved ourselves to work, to obligation, and I'm not saying those things. I love my work. I love working, but it is also equally important to play and have fun and go out and walk and be in nature and enjoy. And this is what the animals are always saying. And they're also always saying, you're loved, you're loved, you're loved. And we forget it. We forget how loved we are. We forget that we are loved. They're just showing us those things. Simple things. They're so significant.
Wow. Okay. I have another question because, I've heard you talk a little bit about this and that, but now I get to ask my questions, and I hope it's the questions that everybody else has. What about animals in the afterlife?
Yeah. Well, this is when you talk about what do they want us to know, the biggest thing they always want us to know in the afterlife is, don't grieve for me. Celebrate me. Because we know this scientifically. Energy is in perpetual motion and flow. E equals MC squared basically means energy just keeps transmuting itself. So if a body and a consciousness in the body is energy, just because the body dies, it's just a transmutation of the energy, right? That's what we're all waking up to. So the animals continue to live, all animals, including the human variety. I learned this through my brother, obviously, too. They continue to live even after the physical body dies. The consciousness and the awareness, the essence of the being, doesn't ever die. So what do the animals in the afterlife say is, don't mourn for me, I'm still here. You can still connect with me. This is part of the excitement about what's really happening with this shift, 2012 and beyond, is that we're waking up that even after the crossing, the physical death, we can still have a relationship with our most beloveds. And we also know there's an opportunity to meet up again, even in physical life, because reincarnation is really real. The way science explains it is there's an infinite number of dimensions all existing right now. We exist in them. We come back, and they can come back in other dimensions of reality, and we can somehow meet up with them again in what we would call future dimensions. Does that make sense? That's pretty big.
Yes, no, it makes sense. But are you saying, like, for example, if one of our, this might not be the case. If one of our family members dies, is it possible for them to come back in the
Yes,
form
they come back too.
But do they come back as a different person? They wouldn't come back as a pet.
No, I don't usually find that. Here's, in my communication with humans and animals, typically speaking, animals don't want to come back as humans. Because they look at humans and they're like, man, these people, they've got life so stressed and they're like so busy running around. It's so crazy. They got all these interpersonal things they've got to work at. Why not just lay around most of the day, relax, have some great outdoor time, have my food brought to me, get some good exercise, get a lot of love from somebody, and all I have to do is love them back and forgive them for stuff. Teach them some things. Do some energy work for them because I love them. They don't typically want to come back as humans. Humans typically are on their own human evolution as well. So when a human comes back and reincarnates in another reality, in another dimension of reality, they're coming back as another person in another body, but they're linked to you through soul groups, soul families. So, maybe last lifetime your sister was your best friend and this time she's your sister. Or maybe this time, your sister, maybe last time your sister was your mother and you've evolved, to some degree. So now you just want to be friends in this lifetime, but you're always connected again. And it's not always, if one person crosses this lifetime, do they come back again to you this lifetime? Well, that can happen, but there is stuff where in between, when you don't have a body, when you're just in consciousness, you're reviewing experiences and you're becoming aware and you're making new choices about what you want to go, redo maybe differently or somewhere that feels right or better for you, some kind of new process. So it might take what we would consider to be a while, like 7 years or something like that, before they might incarnate again. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And so here's
it's a little off topic, but it's the same thing for non-human animals. So they can incarnate again. The thing is, they won't take 7 years. They don't have as much to work through. So when you talk about reconnecting with an animal who's crossed, that's quite easy in this lifetime. And it's almost like, I've helped a lot of people to do this, to reconnect with their animals. And it's always based on the free will of the animal and the human. And it's almost like if you imagine, Debra, you're going, let's just hypothetical, you're going on a blind date or you're going to meet someone at a coffee house that you've never met before. And you're like, okay, we're going to meet up at this place at this time, and I'm going to be the one wearing a red dress, and you're going to be the one wearing a blue tie. And we will just call each other's names out when we get to the coffee house. So hopefully we can recognize each other. And somehow we'll find one another in there. It's sort of like that. I'm oversimplifying, but it's absolutely possible and real.
Yes. Okay.
And that's one of the things, coming back to your first question, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But that's one of the things that animals who have crossed want us to know. Don't grieve for me. The grief is an energy that keeps us separate. Love me, celebrate me, be grateful for our time and our love. And through our connection, we can reconnect again. I can come back in another body and we can reconnect. We don't have to be separate.
Well, in that actually, another question just popped in my mind that I actually didn't plan to ask you, but sometimes I've noticed that I have friends who have animals that are so clearly ready to go to the other side, and my friends just keep them alive for months or even years after they're so ready to go. Why would that be, and what do the animals think about that?
Okay, well, this is really a beautiful question. The thing to understand with this is that we make contracts. We live in a world based on, there are universal laws, and they apply to everybody, no matter what. Even Creator itself follows the universal laws, will not override the universal laws. So one of the two primary universal laws is free will. And the other, by the way, is do no harm, not to yourself or anyone else. So the law of free will says we will agree to everything. And if we're unconscious about stuff that's going to be big for us, that's going to be a major factor, we will agree about that before we incarnate. So when it comes to the crossing, actually, we agree about that before we incarnate, exactly when. So for the animals who are sticking around for their humans, that's because there's an agreement, a contract, an oath, or a vow in place that animal has agreed to. And he won't leave until the contract or the agreement is up. And the human has agreed to that too, unconsciously, because the human's learning about, most likely, death, separation, loss, grief, parting. Those are lessons. And the human and the animal are learning them together.
Wow.
They teach us about that, because they go sooner than we do, typically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, because now I can be less judgmental about my friends who keep their animals alive, because true confessions, I have had a lot of judgment about that. Like, why are you prolonging this cat suffering or this dog suffering?
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah, it's a point of view. It's your point of view, but you want to know what the animals, this is a beautiful thing too. And I see that point of view. I totally understand it and can relate to it. And at the same time, I also understand that in many cases, animals are not as attached to their bodies as we are. think about it. We adorn our bodies. We do all kinds of dressing up our bodies with jewelry and clothes and makeup, and we go out and get plastic surgery for our body, and we torture our body in like some kind of exercises that are painful, and I mean all kinds of things we do to our bodies. And then animals, though, they don't. I mean, they don't have the same attachment to their bodies. They're just beautiful on the inside. They don't fix themselves up with bows and stuff on their own volition, necessarily. So the idea with them is they actually have a sense of how to detach from stuff that we might associate with pain. They understand that the pain is not necessarily theirs. It belongs to the body and the physical experience, but they're really able many times to detach from it. So I'm not even saying to put animals through pain. I'm absolutely not saying that. I don't want to be, misquoted here at all. I'm just saying that they understand that they are not their bodies in ways that we don't understand.
Thank you for sharing that, and that makes complete sense. And I know you helped me so much when my little Molly disappeared, and then we found her, and I was wrecked with guilt that she had died out, in the neighbor's backyard, and you helped me to understand that that was her choice that she chose. She wanted to die in her version of out in the wild, which was the neighbor's backyard, and I was, oh my gosh, she suffered for those 3 days, and you said, no.
And she knew that you wouldn't ever let her go. You would do everything you could to, facilitate her, right, so.
Right. And how beautiful is that? So she took it in her own hands because she was ready to go. So I guess, again, back to the judgment, I don't have to that judgment because they know when it's their time to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So she found a way to go in the backyard and to go to the afterlife, whereas these other little creatures who allow themselves to be hooked up to IVs and this and that, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a divineness to that because, again, we don't always think of the universe as a benevolent, loving force, but it really is. It's more that we have the freedom of our free will and we can create whatever we want, and we make these agreements before we come. So it is really the benevolence of the universe that says, okay, you agree to this beforehand, and we'll give you the tools that you really need so that you can deal with what you're going to be facing. And we're always here. You've got these angels and all of this stuff around you as well. Which science, by the way, calls them electromagnetic particles of light with innate intelligence. Well, that's okay with me. I just call them angels, and guardians, and they're around, and animals have them too. So they help us through all of this stuff too.
Wait, you have to repeat that. Electromagnetic
particles of light with innate intelligence. That's
very, very great way to
Is that funny?
describe the angels. That's very funny.
Yeah.
Well, now I know that everybody would love to be able to more effectively communicate with our animals. And is there a way that you can help us to, I know that you have helped thousands and thousands of people very effectively communicate with their animals, but is there maybe some kind of exercise or something that we could do now to enhance that ability?
For sure. Well, let me say this first. Of course, we can do a meditation. So, and you let me know when it's good to do that. But here's the thing I want to say. Animals read energy. They understand energy. Energy is a universal language. We speak French, English, Italian. They speak energy. So the words that we speak actually have energy connected to them, just like love is an energy, and you can feel love when you're in the room. You can associate with what love is, and you can feel fear or hate or someone's had an argument in the room, even though you weren't necessarily aware of it. You can feel the tension in the room, cut the tension with a knife, we say sometimes. Well, animals are already tuned into that. So if you want to start communicating with your animal right away, and remember, animals learn through cause and effect. One of the fastest, easiest things you can start doing right away is talking to them in short sentences that say your point in a cause and effect. So, for example, when you bark at the door at the postman, that creates stress in our family. I would prefer if you could relax instead on your bed and enjoy your bone. This is just a simple example. But the animal understands the energy of that and can associate with that. Now, is that a 100% solution right away? No, but it's a way you can start doing it right away. So when you scratch at the other cats who are here in our house, that creates stress and anxiety in our house. And then you can tense up your body energetically to demonstrate the stress. I would prefer if you could relax and enjoy the other cats so we can live in a harmonious family, and then you let your body energetically be relaxed. The animals, the cats in this case, could be reading that, and they're receiving the information. Now, obviously, without going into the whole story again, they may want you to get information. So if they want you to get information about this, you can say, what is it you need me to know? What is it you need me to understand so that you can relax in our family? And then you make yourself empty and be willing to listen, willing to receive whatever messages that might come through. They come through in a lot of ways. They could be a visual. They could be a sound, an auditory, something you might hear. They could be some kind of smell that you might receive, like he wants you to give him something, or he wants you to be aware of some smell. It could be something you taste. It could be, energetically something you feel. It could just be a knowing that you have. That's how we're tapping into these different senses that we were relating to earlier when we talked about pineal, pituitary, theta, thymus, sensory through the skin. So it could come through any of those ways, but your animal's likely trying to give you a message. So if you're willing to ask and then surrender to receive what you get, that really is a big part of how this telepathy works. So you can start practicing that right away.
Very good.
Yeah. And one other thing, if I could just add one other thing to that, is that all right?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, let's take a really good example of stuff like lightning storms or firecrackers. You can give a visual to your animal just in your mind without them having, the actual firecracker or the lightning storm going. So you visualize it and you project it towards the animal. Like, when you get really scared and nervous around these things, and then you say, that's really because people are having fun playing with firecrackers, or it's safe for them. They know how to play it with them. So, or if you say the lightning, or the sound of thunder, if you send a visual of that, or the auditory sound of thunder, and you say, really, we're safe inside. And then you just show yourself being safe with the animal and having fun, and all is well. So you're sending them a message, because a lot of times they just don't really always understand all those things. And they're just energetically responding to the energy of those firecrackers, or to the energy of the lightning and the thunder. So if you can show them that it's safe and that they can relax even though those things are going on, that helps as well through the visuals. Does that make sense?
Yes, it absolutely makes sense. And I am absolutely going to try, because you just hit on our little one. Whenever there's lightning, she right under the bed.
Yeah.
And I just never knew how to. And also, what's so great about that for people who have rescues, because I notice that when you have a rescue and they've had trauma, there's a lot, and they're afraid. And this is such good advice, Lori, because this is a way that you can help them to understand they're not at that place anymore where they were being abused. And who would think that you could actually talk to them and show it with your body? But of course.
Yeah, this is such a huge thing, Debra, because can I add some more, or do I?
Yes,
I don't want to run over. I don't know about the time, but so the thing that I want to say about this too is there's so much application for this. So many people that I work with love animals, and they work in rescue organizations, or they work with vets, or they work in, as technical, vet techs or vet nurses or veterinarians themselves, or they work as groomers, or, even dog walkers or pet sitters. Well, they don't always know what to do with these animals who are having stressful experiences in those unique situations, each one of them. And so really, can you imagine if people who were working in these capacities were more trained in how to do animal communication, and then you bring it into a rescue organization and you start communicating with the animal and saying, effectively something like, okay, we know you've been out on the streets and it's been stressful, and it's even stressful in here. However, We're going to help you find the most ideal forever home for you. And you're going to be so happy. What kind of home would you like? What kind of person would you like to live with? Would you like children or a family, or would you just like an elder person perhaps? What would feel good for you? And then you get this message, and suddenly you can help them find their right ideal forever home faster and easier than you could. Or if you were in a vet's office and you could communicate, okay, we're going to help you. Where does it hurt in your body? What are you feeling in your body? Help us to know what's going on with you so we can help you feel better. You know, this is really the stuff we're moving into. Or if you're working as a groomer and suddenly you've got an animal on your table who's shaking and biting and snapping and nipping at you because he's stressed out on top of this table and he's had some trauma from falling in some other lifetime or other reality that he's still aware of consciously or unconsciously. And suddenly you can start to communicate with him, hey, we've got you safe here. You're going to feel so much better after this grooming, and we promise you won't fall. Or, okay, you know what, I'll just lower the table this time. Not such a bad thing for me to do if it's going to relax you. See how we can use all of this? So amazing.
Mm-hmm. And you could say to them while you're grooming them, and I won't put any bows on you and try to make you look like a human.
Right. Sometimes they do say that. I have definitely worked with humans who like to dress up their dogs or their cats, and the animals will be like, well, you know, it makes them happy, but yeah, you know, if you can tell them not to do it, I'd be all right with that.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
And actually, I do want to do an exercise, but now that you said that, what is the funniest thing you ever heard an animal say, or the most poignant, or maybe share with us something that an animal said when you were communicating?
Well, the biggest thing a lot of times is, you know what's so common, and the animals, this is one of the big ones, is just that they'll say things like, you know, why doesn't she get it? What do I have to do, piss on her bed to get her attention? Like that kind of thing is really, you know, pretty funny. Like they just do stuff to get our attention, and we don't always realize. So we're just like getting angry at them for doing some behaviors, and they're just trying to bring something to our awareness. And they're just like, they can't understand sometimes how come we don't get it.
Yeah, so when they do some behavior like that, then what we should do instead of bad dog, or bad kitty, we should ask them what they're trying to do.
For sure. For sure.
Interesting. Wow.
This is why interspecies dialogue is so amazing. Yeah.
Yes, and I know that your program is off the charts powerful and really teaches us how to really own this interspecies dialogue. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, let's do an exercise, meditation, and we're going a little bit over today, but this has just been so amazing. I think that we should take 10 more minutes and do it. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's do that meditation, and then you want to do that right now?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So what we're going to do, this will probably be just like maybe about 10 minutes, and I'll lead everyone through. And the only thing I just want to say about it is, you can't go anywhere or like leave your body even if you feel like, but we're gonna access our theta brainwave, which is really amazing. And when you start accessing this, you know, all kinds of other things are possible. But if you feel uncomfortable at any time, you can just open your eyes and drink lots of water, and it's so simple. So just start, and obviously no driving for this, you know. But it really will work if you're sitting still and just like got your feet on the ground and start to get really comfortable. And start to breathe into your belly. And as you're breathing into your belly, you can start to connect with your mind, just start to feel the oxygen that's coming in through your nose as you breathe it in and going down your breathing apparatus and expanding your belly with that oxygen so that your belly gets really big. And then as you exhale, you're releasing through your breath of your mouth. And with your mind, you can just begin to follow this breath. And as you breathe in that oxygen, allow the oxygen to be love. Just see it as if you're breathing in love. And you can even give it a color, whatever the color of love is. And as you breathe it in and you feel it coming in through your nose and into your belly, and you're expanding your belly with that breath of love, allow that breath with your mind's attention to move down from your belly energetically with your mind. You're feeling it move into your reproductive area, your lower dantian. So you just put your mind's attention there as you're breathing the energy of love in. And then allow with your mind's attention that energy to move from your reproductive area into your tailbone area. So energetically, you can just feel with your mind's attention your tailbone. And now as you're continually breathing in breaths of love in and through your body, allow the energy from your tailbone area to start to travel down into your thighs. And as it moves down and you feel your thighs with your mind, allow your mind to feel your knees. You're still breathing that breath of love in, and just feeling your knees with your mind. And now energetically allow that energy to move down into your calves and feel your calves with your mind. And now feel with your mind your ankles. And then with your mind feel your feet. Feel your feet connected to the floor beneath you. And now with your mind imagine big, huge roots coming out of your feet, penetrating through the floor beneath you. And so these roots are going through all the layers of earth. So they're penetrating through the grass and the dirt. Big, huge roots, like the size of a banyan tree, the largest tree roots you can imagine. And they're going through the dirt now and through rocks and through minerals and through sand, layers and layers and layers of earth, till they go through even the empty space of earth, and then through the nickel center of earth and into the crystalline core. The core of Mother Earth is made of crystal. And let those roots wrap in and through that crystal core of Mother Earth, connecting with the healing abilities of Mother Earth. And as you see those roots wrapping in and through the center of Mother Earth, allow them now to reverse direction and penetrate once again through the nickel, and then coming up through the layers of earth once again, through the empty space, through all the sand and the minerals and the rocks and the dirt and the gravel and the mud and the dirt again and the grass, and now comes back up through the floor beneath you, so you can feel that energy rising up once again in your feet. And then with your mind's attention, feel that energy coming up into your ankles and now into your calves, feeling it rise with your mind's attention into your knees, feeling it rise up into your thighs. Once again, with your mind's attention, you can feel it energetically in your tailbone now. As you're still breathing, you feel it rise into your reproductive area, and feeling that energy rise up into your belly center. And now feeling it rise up into your heart center. You can just acknowledge that energy, feeling your own heart beating, feeling your own heart center. And breathe it up now into your throat center with your mind's attention. Once again, you just feel the energy in your throat. And now let that energy rise up into the center of your brain, your pineal pituitary. And you just feel that energy with your mind. And now reach towards the scalp of your own head, reaching towards the scalp. So energetically, you can feel the scalp of your brain on top of your head. And now reach out past that. So you're just reaching past the roof of your own head towards the roof of your home. And then reach out towards past the roof of your home. So you're reaching out into the sky. And then energetically reaching towards all of the clouds and out past the clouds, out past the atmosphere, reaching towards the moon and the sun and the stars, and then energetically reaching past them towards all the planets, and then out past all the planets into the galaxy, beyond the galaxy actually now, and into a void, an emptiness. And in this space, you can just energetically allow yourself to feel the emptiness of nothingness, just empty void. And then from that place, start to look for something that might look like a window or a door or a light. And if you don't see that, that's all right. You can just actually feel an energetic empty lightness. And now allow yourself to go through that as it opens and allows you to energetically move into it. And as you go through that, you can just connect for just a moment with that beautiful space of love. And even in this space right here of expansion, love, emptiness, you can call forward the consciousness of an animal, companion, a loved one, and just make a connection with them there. You can either bring them to your mind, or just call them forward with their name by saying their name 3 times. It's a great way to do it. And allow yourself to just receive any messages by asking, what would you like to share with me? Allow yourself to just receive whatever you see or whatever you hear or whatever you're feeling or whatever you're aware of, whatever that might be. Whatever it is. And then in that space, you can also send that animal companion the energy of love. Just send them some love. And you can also just send them some enormous gratitude. And in that sending, there's a communication there. You just know it. And now, release them with that love and that gratitude. Let them go, knowing that you're always bonded, always connected. You can always connect in this way. And remember that white light or that door or that window that you went through, and let yourself just energetically kind of come out of it now. And remember that empty space. You're just sort of going through that emptiness once again. And now, once again, you're going to reach towards energetically with your mind. No right or wrong way to do this, by the way. You're just going back past all the planets, coming back into the galaxy, and going past the moon and the stars and the sun, coming back into the atmosphere, and then going once again past the clouds, so that you're hovering once again through right above your own home, and then energetically allowing yourself to come into your home. And as you do, you're just hovering above your own body, sort of remembering that you're reconnecting with your body. But right before you do, just envision a beautiful white light surrounding you, or a beautiful waterfall coming over you. And you can't do this wrong. There's no right or wrong way. And then once you do that, just energetically allow yourself to come back in so that you can feel your scalp once again, just connecting with the energy in your own scalp. And then move that energy once again down into the center of your brain, the pineal pituitary area, just feeling that area. And then once again moving down into your throat center. Once again, just feeling that area with your mind's attention. Coming back into your body and being present again, and moving that energy back down now into your heart center. Once again, feeling your heart center. And then moving that down into your belly center. Feeling your belly center. Still breathing, moving that down into your reproductive area once again. And then moving it down into your tailbone once again. And then remembering those legs, feeling that energy with your mind's attention move down from your thighs and into your knees, and then into your calves and into your ankles, feeling your feet connected to the floor beneath you again. And once again, remembering those big, huge roots coming out of your feet and penetrating through all layers of earth, the same way we did before, reconnecting now as those roots go through all of the layers of grass and dirt and mud and rocks and minerals and sand and empty space, and through the nickel center and into the crystalline core, wrapping in and through once again as we reconnect and reground with Mother Earth, and then letting those roots reverse direction again so that they go through the layers and layers, through the nickel and then through the empty space, rising up once again through all the layers of earth until they come right back up into the floor beneath you, and then you feel it energetically in your feet. And you may be feeling your feet tingling, and at this point you can start to wiggle your toes, move your ankles, feel that energy rise up your calves. You can start to move your calves. You feel it rise up your knees and your thighs. You can start to wiggle around, and it comes up into your tailbone area. You can sort of move your waist a little bit. It comes up into your reproductives and into your belly, your breathing, and rise it up into your heart. And at that moment, put your hands over your heart center. Store up all that beautiful energy from above and below, including the connection that you made with your divine animal who you love so much. And just store that up in your heart center. When you're ready, stretch out and come back into the space, being fully present and alert in your body right here and right now. How you doing?
Wow. That was, I should have started coming out earlier.
Well, I can talk you through it. That's always what happens when we do this. And the funny thing about it is, Debra, I'll talk for a few minutes while you reconnect, for a few moments while you reconnect. Because when we open our theta brainwave like that, it's really powerful, more powerful than most people know. And I know when I teach people as animal communicators, and even when I teach people in psychic development, which I teach people that too, tapping into our own, intuitive abilities, we access this theta brainwave this way. It's way different from just regular animal communication, which a lot of animal communicators do, or even a lot of psychics do, because when you're tapping into the theta brainwave, you're tapping into the field. It's powerful. That's why we just did it really briefly. But when we do it for a longer time, it's even more expansive. And it's really common that we kind of like get a little lost there, because it's very powerful field of awareness and consciousness, and you tap into that. And this is how psychics get their information. You're tapping into the field. You're asking for information. You're becoming aware on a new plane of existence, so to speak, which most people don't usually do. So, yeah, just take a few moments to just breathe into that, and it does take a few moments to get back in there.
And I just realized from what you just said, because I know you have this amazing offer that you put together for everyone, and it just occurred to me that humans are animals as well.
Right.
So when you teach us in your package, this animal communication in this two-way dialogue, it is going to benefit us with human animals and the furry ones too, and the scaly ones. Wow.
Yeah. This is definitely, it's not just the non-human animals. In this particular meditation, we called it an animal, but you could connect easily with, a human who has crossed, or even the high self of a human who you love, who you know, as long as you're not, you're just using it for sharing of love, for being in your integrity here, and being in honesty with, in a loving, compassionate way. This is how we tap into the awareness of the universal field where everyone exists.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I am very excited to hear about the special offer that you created for everyone who's listening to this call. And I highly encourage everyone who's listening to go to Lori's special offer and experience it for yourself.
So if this resonates with you, I encourage you to click on the special offer button to learn more.
So, Lori, can you let everyone know what they'll find there?
Oh, yeah. So I'm really excited about these items. I created them myself, and when I created them, I really created them with love and with the awareness that I really wanted to give this knowledge of how to do this to others. It's basically multiple products in there. Product one is a double audio MP3, an ebook, and an e-workbook, a workbook. So it's all about really the basic steps outlined of how you can have a two-way dialogue with animals, the animals you live with, the animals you love, and the animals you work with and play with. And this is just, it's the step-by-step approach, and it basically outlines it. I've had people who have used this product, and they cannot believe how simple it is. I've had people write to me and do testimonials who say, this is so easy to use. This is the way you do it. And I had one person actually write to me, and she said, Lori, I've been reading animal communication books for years. I've been taking classes, and it was never laid out this simple in such a simple, easy to follow step-by-step approach. So that's the first package, and it's really easy to follow and easy to learn, and you start applying it, you can start applying it right away.
And in that, there are numerous audios and numerous written ebooks, so that people who learn better by listening will be able to learn that way, and then the people who like to read can learn that way.
That's right.
And there's lots of teleclasses and MP3s of all different kinds of things, ways to raise your vibration.
Yeah, well, those are the other products, actually, because there's so many others. Like, I was only talking about the first two. The first product is 2 audio CDs and an ebook and a workbook. That's only product 1. And that in and of itself, Debra, that product is $297 alone. But then when you look at product 2, there's 7 surefire steps to making a heart-centered connection with your animal companion. That is a 90-minute MP3 and a mini ebook. Now, that's not even available anywhere else. So the only place you could get it is through Your Life Without Limits. And so that's got the ebook for you, if you like to read, and also the MP3, but they're not exactly the same. So you get both. And then there's also product 3 is 3 simple steps to effective energy healing and seeing and experience fast and effective results when working with animals and humans. So it's tools for energy healers. Now, if you're already an energy healer, this is going to really help you. And if you're just learning about it, it's a great way to start learning. That's a 90-minute teleclass as well as audio class, as well as a mini ebook. So you get both if you like to read and if you like to listen, you get both. And literally, those are tools that I use in my sessions. It's good stuff. I mean, to me, this is like getting the tools that a professional is using. So then product 4 is 11 easy and effective ways to raise your vibration and release vibrations of unwanted energies and entities from your body and being. And we go into what that is, not just yours, but also your animal companions. Because energy's everywhere, consciousness is everywhere. Sometimes we pick up stuff from, like, we go into the grocery store, and when we walk out, we feel worse. 5 minutes later, we're like, what the heck? I was feeling great 5 minutes ago before I went in there. This tells you how to release that stuff, how to constantly be raising your vibration, because everything's vibration. And so we want to be associated with those high vibrational things like love and joy and happiness and abundance and prosperity. And we want our animal companions to also be having those experiences. So that's what that is. And again, that is an MP3 audio class, 90-minute approximately, and then an ebook as well, a little mini ebook as well that goes with it. So yes, they have both options to listen and to read, and they're not exactly the same, those two. They're a little different, so you have multiple product in there. And then the product 5 is Animals and Energy. Learn a radically cutting approach to healing your animal companions. That's a 90-minute teleclass. And again, these products you can't get anywhere else. So only through Your Life Without Limits. And that's all about working with energy and animals and understanding that. And then product 6 is a 90-minute teleclass. It's our animals and ourselves. It's a planetary healing with a live meditation for the animals. And this I did with a friend. Actually, when you listen to that, you have the opportunity to get tons of other free products, actually, through this website that's in there. So in any case, and it's only available here. It's an incredible meditation, way even longer than the one we just did, where we actually channeled, connected with the animals. What is it that you want animals to live on Earth? What do you want from us? And through that meditation, so powerful, we did great healing for the animals planetarily. It's a phenomenal product. I'm so proud of it. And I did it with a friend. And again, I think people will love it. And it's the business of Lightworkers on that meditation call. So that's in there. And then product 7, if you want to work with me, you get $100, what I called Ethel's Gold. It's just $100 worth its weight in gold, valued at $100 that you can apply towards the retail rate of any of my workshops and or teleseminars at equal or greater value. And it's either in person or through the teleseminar. And that's in there too. So if you look at that whole package there, I think the retail value of that is
$722.
Yeah, woohoo. And they get it for, what is it on this commune page? Is it 97?
It is 97. So they $625 saved.
Wow.
Yes, total wow.
I think that's really awesome. I for the people who work with me in my workshops and my classes, they know I really love to share this. I love to give this information. And the products in there are really, it's not like holding back. It's not like, all sales pitch in there. It's really content, really high, I think, high quality stuff that's taken me certainly a lifetime and countless others to learn. I hope that people love it. I love doing them and creating them. If you've got an animal who's like a cat who's eliminating inappropriately, or a dog who's eliminating inappropriately, or excessive barking, behavioral issues, the animal communication package is going to be so awesome for you, because literally I've had people who have bought these packages who have written to me and said, you know, I went through behavioral trainers, I went to training class, I did all kinds of classes, I couldn't get my dog to stop barking at the postman, or, you know, I couldn't change this behavior, there was so much anxiety, they were causing all this ripping up things in my house, and then when I started using the tools of animal communication that are in your package, it changed everything and saved them hundreds of dollars on vet bills or destruction of their house bills or, you know, training programs. I mean, it's just, and I know I don't mean to overpromise, but it really is. It's the package has got the items in there that really help facilitate with that. So I've heard people who have written to me and told me this stuff. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, as you said that, I thought, maybe we could have saved our Oriental rug, which costs a lot more than $97.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. This
is absolutely, absolutely amazing. I mean, everything that you've given us, everything you've shared with us, that unbelievable meditation, and then the generosity of these packages.
So if you haven't yet, go ahead and click on the special offer button on this page, and you will see for yourself what an amazing, amazing package this is. You are absolutely going to love it. I promise you.
You know, really, I thank you is not enough to convey my gratitude right now, because this call has been beyond fantastic. So are there any final thoughts that you want to leave us with before we go on our way today?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to you, Debra. I know you know, I think you're so awesome. I love you, and I'm so grateful that you invited me to be here, and I'm so grateful to all the listeners who have been listening. I'm really happy to be here. I love sharing this, so thank you. And the last thing I would just say is, you know, we are all connected. We know this now. Our animals are connected to us. We are connected to one another. And what we send out energetically is in our field, and it comes back to us. So the more love and happiness and joy we can share with others, the more we can forgive ourselves and others and practice these things around energy, understanding that these are all energies, the more we get to benefit, not only individually, but also our animals and also planet-wide. And it's really beautiful stuff that we're learning. And I hope that the people who do choose to buy these packages really benefit and get to see that those experiences become theirs. And just to send out beautiful energy everywhere you go, and where you feel unable to, practice forgiveness of yourself and others. That's certainly what our animals are teaching us.
Yes, isn't that true? Just spontaneous love and spontaneous forgiveness.
For sure.
Yes, and for all of us to get to that place, it sure would be a wonderful planet. And you are really helping us get there. So again, Lori, thank you so much.
Thank you, Debra.
Thank you, dear. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for spending this time with me and with Lori Spagna. And I look forward to when we're together again, and to you living your life. Bye now.